Welcome to Hank's Place. There's a call for justice these days. Social media, all media, they're aflame with calls for change. There are demonstrations, even rioting, and the voices of social media cry out, "Listen to our pain." But there are also those with an agenda who are using this pain to suppress any voice not aligned with their agenda. They don't hesitate to use poisoned arrows of the press and other means to destroy lives. Such are the days we live in, my friend. Now, there have been calls for a societal change in America before. My wife and I lived through the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. We're here today. Through marches, demonstrations, riots, suppressions, assassination of a president and his brother, assassination of the killer of the president, Vietnam summer, Watergate, presidential shooting, the list goes on. My precious wife was involved in demonstrations, traveling even to D.C. from Pittsburgh in a Volkswagen microbus to march on the Pentagon. The tear gas is still a vivid memory. People were seeking lasting change. But as Scripture says, until a man's heart is changed, there will not be lasting change. Not for that man. And if that man is in power, then while there may be accommodations to the voices of the demonstrators, soothing words, there will not be lasting change. Only God can change the heart of an unregenerate human being, and he desires to do so. Remember the gentle people with flowers in their hair in San Francisco of the 60s, and the Jesus people of that same era, and how lawless people out for their own ends took things over, adding violence to the mix? Do you remember perhaps the Russian Revolution, 1917? Were you alive back then? Or read about it maybe in history books? I'm not sure if anyone demonstrating today even has a clue. Anyhow, there was a revolutionary movement intending to overthrow the rule of the czars. The czars had ruled for centuries. So what did the revolutionary leaders do? Stirred up works of the flesh, namely jealousy and envy, and they stirred up the common people, pointing to the great chasm of separation, the classes, justice and equality for all they promised, but at the root was jealousy and envy as motivators. In February 1917, the Tsarist government was overthrown. Now there would be equality for everyone, right? That's what the peasants were told. But by October of that same year, the Bolsheviks, led by Lenin, took control, as planned. They had stirred up the commoners in order that they could gain power. Once in power, they suppressed and oppressed the poor even more so than the czars. Later, Stalin took control and killed millions of his own people, anyone who dared to voice an objection to him. I'm concerned today, for there are many deceivers out there encouraging lawlessness so that they can rule. The people in the streets now, they may have noble ends in mind, but they're being played, just as before. Their noble intentions are not those of the leaders. It's déjà vu all over again. You and I can be instruments, however, of God's healing power. Let's listen to what the Spirit is saying to us, and then let's act upon the Spirit words. And in doing so, we will help others come alive.